The views and opinions expressed in this content are that of a continuously evolving nature and are subject to change as humanity evolves into higher states of awareness.
Hello everyone, just Lee here from Real Spirit Dynamics, and I want to talk about the love karmic cycle. Okay, so what this is when somebody uses fear instead of love, and because they've used fear, that causes a karmic debt, which then comes back around and hits them. And when it hits them, sometimes the circumstances can get so out of control in a negative way that it forces love. Okay, this is why love is the most powerful force in the universe, because it always comes back round to love. Okay, so I'm going to use a work situation as an example of this. So say for instance your boss at work gets a new target that he has to reach from his superior. Because he's got this target, he's then got a choice. He can then bring this to his team in a loving way and try and hit the target in a loving way, or he can choose fear and he can bring it in a very strict, nasty way. Okay, I'm sure you've all experienced this with managers at work, where some of them will be different to others, and you know who's a good manager, you know who's a bad manager. And the good managers get lots of praise, people talk about them in a good way, and the bad managers get people talking about them behind the back, which is part of their bad karma for being a bad manager. But the only reason they are a bad manager is because of fear. Okay, so let's say your manager chose fear, and they made things very strict. Okay, and they were looking at everything you did. They were saying, okay, stop doing this, stop doing that, you need to reach this target, everything in a non-loving way. Then what will happen is the team will start going against the manager. Okay, and this is part of the karmic debt caused by using fear instead of love. So your team will start maybe slagging the manager off behind the back. Okay, or they might get very stressed and start complaining or arguing with each other. The job gets so stressful, some people might go off on the sick, and then that affects your manager's sickness report. So all these are the bad karmic cycles that come from not using love. And what happens is the manager ends up in a worse situation than they were previously because of that. And eventually that can lead to love, okay? When they realise that love is the most powerful force. But let's say, for instance, your manager chose love instead of fear. He got you all together and they said, maybe they had a conversation with you, an honest conversation, and said, look, we're going to have to do a little bit of give and take here because we need to reach this target we've been given. So I'm going to go easy on you on this, but then if you can do this instead, then we can maybe all reach this target together. That's a loving way, okay? Now that would work a lot better, you see, but the problem is in today especially, that these companies out there, or these corporate companies, use greed. And the reason they use greed is because of fear. So because that's a fear tactic, there's no room for give and take, you see, there's no room. So whenever a new target comes in, there should be a give and take, you see. These two words are very important. So when the new target comes in, then there needs to be a give and take. So you need to take away a responsibility that the staff have in order to bring in a new responsibility for the target. But that's not happening lately, you see, because these companies are getting very greedy and they're causing a lot of bad karma for themselves, because they're wanting more and more, but they're not allowing, they're not taking away any more pressure from the staff. They're just wanting more and more and more, okay? So the staff are getting more and more stressed, especially these multinational companies with all the new regulations coming in, new targets they have to reach, and it's all down to greed and money, okay? So when this happens, this is why people don't want to go to work every day, okay? They don't want to go to work every day because they know how bad the situation is. They'll go into work. Some places you're not even allowed to go for a toilet break. Some you get a maximum of 15 minutes every 4 hours you work for a break. This is, when you think about it, this is not love, okay? This is definitely not love. But this is what's happening, and a lot of people are very depressed, and a lot of people are going on the sick. A lot of people are kind of, they hate going to work, okay? I know people who feel sick at the thought of having to go into work. Now, what kind of society is this going to build when you feel sick before you want to go into work? Okay, this is not good for anyone. And eventually this is going to get to a point where it's so bad that it's going to cause a lot of negative situations and a lot of losses from these big companies, and they're going to have to face this the hard way. It's going to get so bad that eventually love will be the only way. But it doesn't have to be like that. They can learn the easy way instead of the hard way. But we need to bring back more humanity. Now, if you're in a work situation and you're seeing this, the important thing is you need to discuss this with your colleagues, okay? Because some colleagues don't see this. Some colleagues will just do what they're told, hate going to work every day, and they won't try and improve things. But if you see all this, you need to try and improve things. Have a word with your manager. Just say, look, I know we have to do this new thing, but we've still got to do all these other things. It's getting a little bit stressful. If your manager's got love, if your manager's very intelligent, then they'll understand the problems this will cause, you see, because a lot of these companies are not looking at the problems it's going to cause. They're not seeing the future. All they're seeing is dollar signs. They're just seeing greed. They're not seeing the future. They're not seeing love for humanity. They're not seeing all the things that make us human. They're not seeing happiness in life. And what's ironic about this is that the law of karma works in a way that these people high up who are making these decisions to add this extra target with no give and take, those are the ones that receive the karmic debt for all them that they affect below them, okay? Now this is serious, okay? This really happens. They get the karmic debt. So if you are a leader in a corporate company and you're listening to this, consider this, okay? You might find that your life is going upside down outside of work. You see this a lot with a lot of rich people who own companies, and they're very greedy. You'll see that the personal lives are very bad because there's all these bad things happening to them, okay? I see this regularly. I see this with a lot of rich people. The children hate them. The wife sleeps in a separate bed to them, okay? Because they're putting work before humanity. They're putting the greed before humanity. And don't quote me on this, but this happens a lot, okay? I'm not saying it happens to everybody, but it happens to a lot of people who are very high up and they're making decisions based on greed and not humanity. So yeah, so if you're in a work situation, you see this, bring it up, okay? Just fight it. Don't allow it to happen. Seriously, don't allow it to happen, because the more the people that allow this to happen, the more these companies get away with it, and the worse your jobs are going to become, okay? They're going to become stricter and stricter till eventually it's going to be almost like slavery again, but in a different way, okay? So they get away with whatever they can get away with, these companies, and the human rights is a good thing, but it doesn't do enough, okay? It doesn't count. It doesn't take into consideration people's mental health. It doesn't take into consideration people's different abilities to do a job. Okay, one person might be able to hit these new targets easily, but another person might find it really difficult. There needs to be a leeway between the two different consciousness states. You see, and this is what the companies are not incorporating in these new policies, and this is making people's lives very difficult. Okay. Some people will hate going to work, some people won't mind it because they can do it, but that's based on their abilities. And if all this is ignored, then it's only going to create bad karma, and it's going to create a lot of money losses, it's going to create a lot of unhappy people in the world, and this is not where we want to be going from 2020 into the new century. We don't want to be like that, okay? So take that on board, people, and that's it for this video. If you've got any comments, please leave them, and please subscribe to my channel, Real Spirit Dynamics, and I'll see you on the next video.